100%.
Emma's Bagel's not bad. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Any Geschmack donuts you had yet, and that's still not?
Nah, the Geschmack ones are bad. The plain old. I'm a plain old donut guy.
I know, but you can't find them anywhere. You can't find them.
Right. Yeah,
I want
that's true.
You know what I was telling Brock?
Hey, I'm gonna text. I'll text you some pictures I made in my house tonight.
No, I want to find Jack. I want to find a good old Moshe Lansky donut. You can't find them anywhere.
Correct. It's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem. Just a plain old donut for $1 too. That's what it is.
Right. I don't need the squeeze bottle inside the donut.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I see Yitzi Sontag's on a Mazel Tov. He made a bris today. Baruch Hashem. He didn't let anybody know about it because it's Brooklyn, so we don't feel guilty that we didn't go. So we thank him for that. And he should have a lot of nachas from him and the
Taka Mazel Tov, Yitzi. Mazel Tov.
Amen.
I didn't want to be Matriarch. We can't chat on the WhatsApp group.
Yes, if you could have done me a favor by not sending me that message, I would have appreciated it.
The truth is only the admins could post. We have to change that.
That's true, Ty. Very good. Where's Landau? When you Very good. Okay. So let's go. Yeah, 3 lines up from the bottom. Yud Zayin on the base. Yeah. We good? 3 lines up. So Amar Ma. Mitimna. How do you pronounce that word again? Mitimanya, right? From the 8th day. So again, we're going through all the different days of Megillas Taanis, which were the Yom Purim that they added on. So we said that there was the first 8 days of Nisan was a Yom Tov because they ended up convincing the Apikorsim that the carbon tummet should come from public funds. And then the next 7 days is they convinced the Apikorsim that Shavuos doesn't have to be on a Sunday, right? So that we're gonna discuss those. So at Saif Mayada, from the 8th until the end of Pesach, so they had a Yom Tiv because they convinced the Apikorsim about Shavuos, so therefore they said no Hespedim, right? So Gemara asks, Lamli at Saif Mayad, why do you need to say that the Yom Tiv is until the end of Mayad? Lema ad hamayad. Umayad gufay Yom Tiv hu v'asur. Why don't you just say they did it till Yom Tiv, and then Yom Tiv is assur? Meaning, why do you have to say from the 7th day until after Pesach? Say from then until Pesach, and then Pesach is Pesach. Of course, there's no Hespedim, right? So Amar Rapavagad Amar Rav loy nitzrucha elo onto Amar Aleph now Yudches Amar Aleph elo lesser Yom Shalafanav, right? Because we know that it assurs the day before. Right? We said that any days that we had it, so actually Machlokes, which days are assur before or not, meaning whether you say on Erev Yom Tif it's a assur or not. So we're saying that Elo Lesser Yom Shalafanav Hachanami Leinitzur Elo Lesser Yom Shalacharav, by saying that Pesach has, meaning that's part of this Megillas Taanis, that would now tell you that the day after Pesach you wouldn't be able to fast because the day afterwards is not a problem, right? Meaning by adding on and saying that it's Yom Tovim, it's Megillas Taanis, so it's going to add on that the day after is also going to be it's also going to be assur in assur in Taanis.
What about Isru Chag?
Right, so that's the question. So what's with Isru Chag, right? So yeah, we already had
we're knowing not to on this one, no?
We're knowing not to.
Right. So what's the question? Right?
Because we said yesterday that deraisa, we're knowing Isru Chag. But we said a deraisa does not need chizuk, right? That's why Shabbos you're allowed to say a spadim on Erev Shabbos and you're allowed to say a spadim on Sunday. So we said, yeah, right. We said yesterday at the end of the daf yesterday that divrei Torah don't need chizuk, so therefore they don't need to assur Erev and the day after the Taanis. But before, a Taanis derabanan you do. So by saying that they had this, not a Taanis derabanan, Yom Tov derabanan. So by adding on this Yom Tov derabanan, so now we're going to make it that after Pesach would be assur. If it would be Stam Pesach, it would not be assur, right? So then the question becomes, where does the whole Isru Chag come from? But that's a different issue, right? That's something that came after. But I mean, it's not after. It's called Isru Chag. In the Yom Tov, it's called Isru Chag, but it's not. It has nothing. The reason why we're treating it as a Yom Tov has nothing to do with Yom Tov per se. I mean, it does obviously, because it's the saying goodbye to the Yom Tov. But it's not. It wouldn't be assur behesped unless you had these days. What do you want to say about it?
We see it special because Koshlam asked them to stay. I mean, they have to sleep over at Motzi Yom Tov in Yerushalayim, no?
I mean, that's where it came from.
So I'm saying that was before this.
Right. So but that's one of the reasons, but that's not enough to make it assur behesped.
Okay.
Right. So that by doing this, because it's derabanan and it needs chizuk, then that would make it assur behesped.
Why do they count 8 days? I don't understand why are they doing all the days? Why didn't they count the day? Why didn't they count the day that they actually convinced them? Well, who cares about the rest of the days?
Right. So I don't know. Unless it's 8 days that it took them to convince them. That's what I think I saw. Meaning the deliberations took 8 days. So Mamela, because of the deliberations, they celebrated it for 8 days. I think I saw that.
I don't understand. Of all times to ask this, when you've been saying already for 3 days,
well, no, because the miracle was for 8 days. What are you asking?
We don't mention the miracle in Al Anisim, the Menorah. The Chanukah Samizbeach, that nace that they won,
I don't understand what you're saying.
Chazal made 8-day Yom Tovs.
Right? You mean you think that that's what it is? It's 8 day. There's something special about 8 days. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We don't mention the nace of the Menorah in Al Anisim. The Kavush Shmeinis Mechanukah is in Al Anisim because of what they did.
Well, that's what they want.
Because of the Chanukah Samizbeach, they made an 8-day Yom Tov.
Because Gersh and all the Halikas Forum say that Chanukah is like Sukkot, so that's why we're there.
Yeah.
I never thought about that it's 8 days. It's 8 days.
What's he trying to say? That it's a din in the 8 days, not in the Neis Chanukah? What
he's saying that they made Yom Tovim 8 days. So then how come they didn't make Purim 8 days?
Or Shavuos?
Purim was a specific day to commemorate that day. It wasn't a thing that happened.
I mean, it got up to 5 days. Purim got up to 5 days. That's what we'll see on Amud Beis.
Gersh, it's not true because that 8 days is only in America.
What? Hanukkah?
It's 7 days. Hanukkah, you saying?
The Hanukkah. Somebody talking about the Megillah's time. Hanukkah's Megillah's Taanis at the end of the day. It's
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear. Hold on 1 second, please.
Getting a ticket.
No, sorry, I'm in Lakewood trying to arrange things. Okay, hold on.
Jack, we were you got pulled over and you were talking to the cop a minute.
No, I'm in the passenger. I'm in the passenger seat because I told my wife she should start driving home, but now she's going to visit my niece. Okay, whatever.
I think you're better off.
Could be. I'll tell her the Daf's going for 2 hours. I go out to eat. Anyway. Okay, so come on. So let's see. Now they're going to ask the long kasha, which is, I hope the Olam remembers this from Rosh Hashanah. Right? So Gemara says, "Come on, Rabbi Yossi, who are you saying this is like Rabbi Yossi? Damar bein lefano bein la'achar of assur, who says that whether it's Erev Yom Tiv of these Megillah's Taanis days and the day after Yom Tiv, Rabbi Yossi holds they're both assur. Yeah. So ihachi be'esrim v'tisha nami. So then on the 29th day of Nisan of Adar, should also be a no hispedim. My area to have yom the mekame yom the mesukim tamida. Right. So why does the Megillah's Taanis say that the reason why the 29th day is assur is because it was the day before the day that they made the tamid? They made the korban tamid that it comes from the tzibur. right? Why are you answering it for that? Typically, why don't you say it's the day after the 28th day? Meaning we had said that the 29th day, which is Erev Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? Nisan, Adar is normally 29 days. So you're saying that the 29th day is Erev Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? So since they had this 8-day holiday, when they established the Korban Tamid, so that makes the 29th day assur. So the Gemara is saying no, it should be the 29th day should be assur because the 28th of Adar was a holiday, and therefore the 29th should be assur because it's the day after a holiday. What is it? Typically, it's the day after 28th. The Tanya, on the 28th day of Adar, what happened? They had good news that came to the Yidden. That they would not be held back from learning Torah. What happened? One time there was a gzeira on Klal Yisrael, that they shouldn't learn Torah. They shouldn't give brisim to their kids.
Jacob, not to interrupt, but I got some good charts I posted before. It had a very nice broken down to the dates
of all the different dates. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. I didn't look at it. I'll look at it. Okay, very good. Thank you. So anyway, so they made a gezeira, which is actually eerily similar to the gezeiras of Hanukkah. No, yeah, that not to learn Torah and not to give a bris and to be machal Shabbos. So ma also Yehuda ben Shamua v'chayra. What did Yehuda ben Shamua and his friends do? Shakol Gedali Rami Mitsuyanat. So I hope that you anybody remember this from Rosh Hashanah. So they went to this matronisa, a madam as they call it, no, in Lashon Naki, yes, that all the Gedali Rami, and they asked her an eitzah. So Amrulem, she told them, Amdu v'fkinu b'layla, go make a hafkana at night, go make a protest. Holchu v'fkinu b'layla. They went and made a protest. Amru, they said, Ei Shemayim, meaning that's like a tefillah, like Shemayim. Loi acham anachnu, are we not brothers? Meaning they were telling this to the goyim. Are we not brothers? Loi b'nei av echad nachnu, are we not sons of the same father? Right? Meaning Yaakov and Esav. Yeah, from Yitzchak. Loi b'nei aim achas anachli, we're not from the same mother. Manishtaninu mikolum avaloshim. So why are you changing us literally? Why are we different from every other nation? Sha'atem goyzun aleinu gzeiras rois, that you make such bad gzeiras against us. Ubitlum, and we and they mavatal it. So they mavatal it. And that day they made it into a yomtiv, right? So that's certainly a day for a yomtiv. So that was the 28th day of Adar. So if that's the case, so then you shouldn't be able to fast on the 29th of Adar because that's the day after the 28th, having nothing to do with what happened on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So no, because you need it. If let's say Adar is made into 30 days, so if Adar is made into 30 days, right? So then the 29th day would not be a day of Yom Tiv. So that's what we're saying when it's because the 30th day is Erev Yom Tiv. So the 29th day is post Yom Tiv. So then post this Yom Tiv, then it would be no problem, right? I mean, whatever. Then it would be no problem. So now we're saying you're not allowed to fast because it's the day after the 28th day. Rav Ashi Omar. It could even be 29 days in Adar. Kol shalacher or Tuyraynus assur behesped mutter. Anything that's afterwards, anything that comes after, then if it's assur, I'm saying with Tuyraynus, then behesped it will be mutter. Right? Meaning normally you're saying, because we have different levels. You have a Yom Tif, and then you have a Yom Tif, and then you have it could be assur b'Tuyraynus, it could be assur b'hesped. So it's saying really it would be assur b'Tuyraynus, but hesped would be mutter. But this hayil mutter ben shnei yomim tovim, since the 29th day is sandwiched in between two yomim tovim, right? Because the 28th day is the Yom Tif for that story we just said, and Rosh Chodesh Nisan is a Yom Tif because the Korban Tamid. So the 29th day is sandwiched in between, so therefore everything's going to be assur. Tuyraynus is going to be assur, and hesped is going to be assur. Right? So Yom Tov Atzmai v'afilu behesped nami assur. So therefore they said even a hesped is assur. Okay, so that's why. So now basically you have Yom Tovim of the 28th, the 29th, and potentially the 30th day too. Fine. So Omar Mar, So Mar said, right? So from then till the 8th day, it was a day not to say Hespedim. So why are you saying from the 8th day? Say it's from the 9th day. And the 8th day is also because it's the day of the Tamid, meaning we said from 1 to 8 of Nisan is the carbon Tamid, and then from 9, it should be from 9 till Pesach. Why is it saying 8? Meaning, so 8 comes out, the 8th of Nisan comes out a double holiday. It's the last day of the carbon Tamid holiday, and it's the first day of the Shavuos holiday. So why don't you just say that it starts from the 9th day? So my answer is keeping the iklu miklale milsa, because if something would happen, but little l'shiva, then they would be mavatal the seven days of Nisan. Timnai gufei assur, right? Then the 8th day would still be assur because the 8th day had a yom tov on it. Meaning, for whatever reason, the first 7 days, if something bad happened to Klal Yisrael and they would abolish this, then it would be, and then the 8th would be assur. The reason why 8th day would still be assur is because that's the first day of the Shavuos holiday. So Hashdadas is lahachi. Now that we say this, Esrim v'tisha nami, the 29th day also of Adar. Kimadilu mikla milso, because if something bad would happen on the 29th day, or but linul esrim v'timnaya, and then they would be mavat. I'm sorry, if something bad happened on the 28th day, and then they would be mavatal the holiday of the 28th day. Esrim v'tisha gufei assur. Then the 29th day would be assur. Tahavalei yom demakame yom desakim tamida. It would be the day before the day that they were masakin for the carbon tamid, so therefore it would still be assur. So I don't get this clearly. So that means that some Megillah, why do they ever keep Megillah's Taanis? Because always something could happen that they'll stop it, right? Meaning he's not trying to be mevatel on Megillah's Taanis, he's just trying to be mevatel maybe the day before, the day after. But then always something could always happen, and then they could stop celebrating it, as they call it. Okay, so I'm not sure. Fine. So Itmar, so how do we pasken? He says the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, right? That when hesped is assur, right? Then when the day is assur in hesped, so it means the day before and the day after is also assur in hesped, right? Meaning the day before and day after go with the Yom Tov. Shmuel Amar, and Shmuel says halacha k'Rameir. Halacha is like Rameir, that it's only the day before, but the day after is mutter, right? So okay, well, there's a very interesting Tosfos. Let's see. What?
When was Megillah's Taanis batul?
When is it batul?
When was it? It became batul. Wasn't that before
after
the Gemara?
We said after the Churban.
That was before Rav Shmuel. Well, I mean, Rav Chia bar Asi. Yeah, it's before Rav Shmuel. So why are they arguing about halachas Rabbi Yossi or Meir?
I guess I don't know. I mean, that's what you mean. Why it's not Negeya?
Just for Hanukkah and Purim.
So we're gonna. That's Tosfos. That's Tosfos. Tosfos is not coming from that angle, but that's Tosfos. But anyway, yeah. So Gemara asks, second line up from the wide lines. Did Shmuel say that the halacha is like Rameir? But Tanya Reb Shimon Gamliel Leimer, Umatam Leimer behind Shtepam, right? So it says, right, that these are the days, and the Megillah's Taanis says these are the days that it says behind behind, right? So why does it say behind twice? Meaning behind tight, meaning in them. It comes to tell you that that they're asurin and lefnei and mutar, before and after are mutar. Shmuel said that we only the actual Yom Tov is asur, before and after is mutar, right? So how can you say Shmuel here says like Rav Shimon Gamliel? So how could he say like Rameir that the day before is asur and not the day after? Maybe the halacha he just said here the halacha is like Rav Shimon Gamliel that the day before and after is not asur. So it's this teretz is unbelievable. Meikara Savar, no, because in the beginning he held even the leka Tana de Meiko Rameir, since there's no other Tana that's as lenient as Rameir, he went with the lenient shita. Rashi says because it's the derabanan. So you go with the most lenient shita, right? All these Megillah's Taanis are derabanan. So making it asur behesped is a derabanan. right? So he thought Reb Meir is the most lenient. He only makes 1 day before assur, not the day after. Even the Shamed, the Reb Shimon, the Mekel Tvei, but then he heard that Reb Shimon Megamliel is even more Mekel. So Amar Lochik Reb Shimon Gamliel. So they said, okay, now Allah is like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that before and after are mutter. You hear what he's saying? He's saying Shmuel said this is the derabanan. Okay, so we got to go with the most Mekel Shita. So he went with the most Mekel Shita. Then he found out there's an even more Mekel Shita. So then he decided to even be more Mekel. Imagine if a rabbi does that now, not in the town that I'm sitting in, right? But I'm just saying, right? But you go with the most Mekel by derabanan. And the question is, how come sometimes by derabanans we don't do this? Okay, whatever. That's already a different.
The Gemara seems to say in other places
because then you end up with mixed dancing. That's why.
Maybe or lace wigs, maybe. But yeah. Yeah, what are you saying, Akiva?
The Gemara and other places we've learned says the fakir that when it comes to the Rabbanans, we're even more machmer because we want to establish, that we should follow the Rabbanans.
Right. So I don't know.
Haven't we said that before?
We said that, but I think we said that when we establish what the halacha is, and then we have to do chizuk to the halacha. Here, he's trying to establish which way we should pasken, meaning he's saying that you don't have to go with those chumra dikashitas. Meaning there, it's like we pasken like the derabanan, and then memela we're going to go. We're going to be where we need to be mechazigit. But here is a matter of whether we should pasken like that or not. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what he said. So then let's see, right? The two more lines and we do the Tuyraynus. Chein Amar Bali, Amar Rav Chia Bar Abba, Amar Rav Yochanan, Allah Rav Yosi, Allah is like Rav Yosi. Amar Rav Chia Lervali, Asber Allah. I'll tell you what he means. Allah is like Rav Yosi. Ki Amar Rav Yochanan, Allah Rav Yosi, Adallah lisana. It's only not to fast, right? But where it's behesped, then he doesn't go with Rav Yosi, he goes with Rav Meir. Meaning on the days that they only made a Yom Tif that you shouldn't say hespedim, there he goes with Rav Meir. But not, meaning he doesn't go across the board like Rav Yosi that the day before and the day after is always assur. It's really only on the days that they made tanesim assur. Okay, so then fine. So now Tuyraynus' major kasha is how do you if Purim is one of the Megillas Taanis, right? Chanukah and Purim are the Megillas Taanis. So how do we fast Taanis Esther on the day before Purim? According to Rav Yosi, that you're not allowed to fast before Purim, right? Before Purim and before Chanukah. So how do we fast Taanis Esther? Right? No, it doesn't say that they fast on Taanis Esther. They just said they fasted. That really was Pesach.
Well, no, they fasted because they were going to Milchama.
Right. Oh, you mean you're saying that it says that they, does it say it in the Megillah? Does it say they fasted? I don't know. It says they went to war. Does it say they fasted?
So the first Amid, the Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos, every time they went to war, they fasted before they went out to war.
Right, but the question is, right, but how could they? Meaning, how could we do it as a celebration?
Because that's older. They did that by Yeshua, and Yeshua for the Malik, they were fasted. So
right,
you can't knock that off. They can't. That's one of the prerequisites to go to war. You're going to affect the soldiers, the kedushas of the army. If you don't fast, you have to fast if you're going to move. That gives you strength for the soldiers. You can't not fast because you have this gezerah 400 years later.
No, but
that's they good for them. What about for us?
I don't know about for us. We're talking about for them or for us.
I hear. But if once they made it into a Yom Tif, though, good, they fasted back then. But once they decided to make Purim into a Yom Tif, so Tuyraynus asks, how do you fast Taanis Esther? Meaning, you're right. Kolzman that they didn't make it into a Yom Tif, so you want to fast on that day, is a day. But once they establish a Yom Tif, you're saying that you're not allowed to make a Yom Tif on before you're not allowed to fast before or after. So then what's a shot? Right? So you're gonna say, what can you say? Butler Megillas
part of the Yom Tif.
We don't what?
It's part of the Yom Tif.
That's second. That's first Tuyraynus. Okay, very good enough, Toli. The first teretz and Tuyraynus is that we said that Chanukah and Purim are no longer bottle, right? I mean, Chanukah and Purim are the only two Yom Tov. There's like 35 of these Megillas Taanises, and Chanukah and Purim the only two left. Right. So Tyson says first that when it means that Chanukah Purim are still left, it's just left that we celebrate it, but we don't have the other restrictions. Right. That meaning they only the actual Yom Tov, but not the before and the after. That's the first teretz. And then the second teretz, I think, is more, I don't know if it's like what you're saying, Rabban, or Raftoli, or a combination of the two. He says, it's that we could say that it's because it has to do with Purim. The whole Taanis Esther has to do with Purim, right? So therefore, since it has to do with Purim, we're allowed to fast. And others say that the fast is not actually a sad fast. It's almost like I forgot who says that pshat.
You see,
right?
we see it's not a sad fast. We know that.
Right. So it's So those are the few terutzim from the Tosfos. Okay, let's see weiter. So the second line up from the bottom. So yeah.
The pasuk says the kimal nafshim al zarim divrei atzemes v'zakasam. I just checked it out.
Divrei atzemes v'zakasam. So therefore, you're saying
it's in first pasuk.
Wait, that's from Pesach, not Erev Purim.
Yeah, but when did they celebrate those fasts?
They decided that it should be Erev Purim.
No, it's a fast on Erev Purim is because of the war that they went to fight. It's not a commemoration of the fast of Pesach that she fasted on Pesach. The question is when do we do that? That pasuk, when do we do that?
Right, I thought it was the same day.
She did it. They did it that year.
No. But he's saying, but there's a zakar in the pasuk says, right? What's a pasuk again? What's the lashon?
Kashakimu al nafshim al zarim divrei atzemes v'zakasam.
So I don't know, does that mean just that they're letting everybody know that there were fasts and those fasts led to the Yeshua? Is that what that means?
No, it's the beginning of the pasuk. It says a kind of yimei Purim ha'ela is manem kashakim aleim Mordechai Mordechai Yehudi v'Esther Malka. It's talking about when they established the Yom Tov and everything else, all the pratim with that.
Yeah, okay, I don't know. I have to look. I always thought that the Mishnah Berurah certainly says that the fast was only because of the Mastama. They went to war, and so Mastama they fasted. Right? He doesn't say that Taanis Esther has anything to do with. I don't know. Okay, well, I'll have to look into it. Okay, very good.
That's the title of that pasuk.
I understand, but that's not.
They accept on themselves now like they accepted then. But the kasher kimu is what they did then. Doesn't say they were Mekayim the fasts afterwards, like they were Mekayim the fasts then. So they made a Yom Tov, like they were Mekayim everything that Mordechai told them to do then. They were Mekayim the Yom Tov after that.
Right. I hear. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, smaller bags go all the way underneath.
Mike's on the plane. There you go. Mike, have a safe trip, Michael.
All the way
thank you.
underneath the seat in front of you.
Fine.
Overhead bin space is
Okay, weiter. So let's see that. So it's two lines up in the bottom. So me, Omer, Rabbi Yochanan, Hachi. Did Rabbi Yochanan say this? Right, that we differentiate between we differentiate between the days of Megillus Taanis is fasting and Hespedim. V'Omer Rabbi Yochanan halacha k'stam Mishna. Rabbi Yochanan knows halacha is like stam Mishna. V'Tanan Ava b'Shamar Makdim Eloi Ma'achrin. This is the Megillah. Right, we know the Megillah gets this 5 potential days you can read Megillah. Right, Tesvav, Yud Daled, right, then Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel. Right, so even though we say Makdim and Eloi Ma'achrin, you can go earlier before Yud Daled. You can read on Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, but never after Tesvav. Right. But still, mutar and behesed v'tainis. Those days are mutar and hesped and tainis, right? So what? So Amos. Now, what is the case where that you're allowed to do hesped and tainis on the day before the Megillah is read? Ilema b'nei chamesar. If it's the people of the 15th, meaning the walled cities, fikah korali about based on for some reason they're reading it on the 14th day. And then Mamela, they're allowed to say a spadim on that day. Umishari, Is it allowed, if they're reading it on the 14th day, are they allowed to say a hesped? It says in Megillas Taanis, Yom Rabba Asur by V'Yom Chamisha Asur by the 14th and the 15th. Yom Purim, these are days of Purim. The Loilam is behind. There's no hespedim. So you see beferish that there's no hespedim, not on Yudal, not on Tesvav. No, so what's it coming to tell you? That it's us, everything is assur. Meaning, no matter if you're in your Dalit or Tesvav, whatever you are, you gotta keep Purim for both days. And no hespedim. So it can't be that there's no hespedim in that day. There must be a city that normally reads on the 14th, like we all do. And for some reason, they're reading on the 13th. So on that day, they would be mutter to say hespedim. So the Gemara says Yom Nikkur, which the Gemara is going to say later what Yom Nikkur is. So that's a holiday. That's another one of the Megillas Taanis days. So you wouldn't be able to say hespedim. Must be the 14th and the reading on the 13th. Yom Tuyraynus, that's a different Megillas Taanis day. That's called the Yom Tuyraynus, which the Gemara is going to say in a minute. Elolav, the Chadesa must be where they're reading on the 11th. The Katanim, what the best with a Taanis. And it says it's mutter behesped and Taanis. Right? So you see that there is such a thing as a day of a Yom Tif that's mutter with hesped and Taanis. So when answers like it must be the 14th, and they're reading it on the 13th. Oh, you said that that's its own holiday of Yom Tuyraynus. Yom Tuyraynus gufei betule batlu. They were mavatal the day of Tuyraynus. Why? They killed Shmaya and Achia, his brother, which Rashi said. Rashi says the Chasidim, meaning we don't know exactly what Rashi says, and Masar Sashas also says it. We don't know exactly what the story is with them, but since they were killed, so then they were mavatal it, which we said on Amid Aleph, right? Sometimes they could be mavatal the Megillas Taanis, right? Sometimes if there's something bad happened, they'll negate the holiday, right? So that's what happened. So Memela, the 14th is no longer a Yom Tuyraynus. Kihod Rav Nachman Gozer Tanisa Betresa, he was Gozer Taanis on the 12th of Adar. Amrule Rabbanan Yom Tuyraynus, that 12th is the Yom Tuyraynus, right? So how can you make it a fast day? So Amalahu Yom Tuyraynus Kufei Betule Betlu. The Yom Tuyraynus they were mavatal it. Hoyel Benergu by Shmaya v'Achia Achiv. So Shmaya and his brother Achia were killed. So therefore, we're going to say that since they were mavatal it, then that's it. And that's they were mavatal it. So therefore, that could be the day that we're talking about. So well, it should be also because it's the day before Yom Nikkur, which we said on Erev, according to this Shita, right? The day before is also behesped and Taanis. So Ravashi hashta iu gufei batlu, if the Chachamim were mavatal Tuyraynus mishum Yom Nikkur nekum v'nigzar, so we're going to say because of Yom Nikkur, nor meaning once they were mavatal it for one, we're not going to say, oh, it still has some sort of kedusha because of the day before. That we're not going to do, right? Okay, so now my nikkur or my Tuyraynus, what were these 2 days? Right?
Exactly. We're losing out on more non-Tachnun days.
That's
exactly
right,
Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, it depends. If you're not Hasidish.
Right, I was going to say the Chassidim have the right mahalach on this one.
I wonder, does anybody...
Shmuel didn't seem to think so. Shmuel calls it a kula to say tachnun, not a chumra.
Well, we're not talking tachnun here. We're talking hesped and Taanis. We didn't mention anything about. We're mentioning about.
Right,
what's the kula? What's the kula? How is it a kula not to be a yom tov? I would have thought it's a kula to be a yom tov.
Aaron,
Kula not to be.
Yeah.
Well, it's a hesped and Taanis.
The Mishna
But it's a kula not to say hesped, not to have to fast. That's a kula.
I guess.
That's a chumra.
I don't know. What are you saying?
The Mishnah Brewer brings a minig that there were people that only ate fleishiks on days they didn't say tachnun. Otherwise, they didn't eat fleish. Only days you didn't say tachnun. They said, yeah.
Okay, I can't relate to those people. What I tell you.
Well, maybe that's why the Rebbe started doing this, so the Olam shouldn't be over. That's why.
Oh, that's the Makar you're saying. I hear.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So now we have the stories here. My nikkur, and there's a major halacha that we can learn out from one of these stories. Yeah, my nikkur, my Tuyraynus. What's nikkur? What's Tuyraynus? The Tanya nikkur. He was from the Greeks, also in Yonah the Yoma. He was a Greek officer. Every day he would wave his hand against Yehudim Yerushalayim. When are they going to fall into my hands? And I'm going to trample them. And then when the Chashmonaim went and beat him, behind us the other v'ragel. What they did is they cut off his thumbs and his behind ragel. There's his thumbs of his hands and the thumbs of his feet. These Chashmonaim were you know what I mean? You should not start up with these guys. These Chashmonaim were really something.
The Kohanim knew how to use a knife.
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm going to say he's clearly not related to the other Shar Nikkur that we learned about.
That's true.
And that was a Helchi, that was a tzaddik.
That's what I'm saying. No.
Yeah. No. So right.
Is this what you're saying? The halacha we learn? You're allowed to do this to a guy?
No. I'm not getting involved. Whether that was. It's not everybody says that the Chashmonaim were so legit, right? That's a whole Machlokes historically. Okay, no, we're not. No, that's not. You could try and learn it from that. But anyway, then V'tolu b'shari Sunday.
Gershon, don't do this at home, Gershon. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Tziyakov, we know some of them weren't. The Gemara breaks down. Rabbi Yochanan Hyrcanus went off the derech after 80 years.
Yeah.
He was one of the Chashmonaim.
Correct, 100%. So I don't know if this was legit or not.
Oh, I didn't know that. They say that some of the Chashmonaim were no good.
Yeah.
That's brought down. That's widely known.
That's for sure.
They were a cursed family.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Listen, sometimes you need to get these type of chevra to get you to win the war back. That's the type of guys you need. Right?
That's because they didn't want to give up the
I learned a tremendous Shem Mishmul today. It was too much time to take up, but he says totally fakir. It's fantastic.
I'm not okay. I'm not starting up with the Shem Mishmul, but Rebbeinu, what are you saying?
No, but that's because they didn't want to give up the malchus. That's why they had their issue.
How long it'll keep you waiting?
Right.
Yeah.
But that happened. That didn't happen right away.
No, but it was a very short tekufa that they were considered. I'm saying.
Yeah.
They didn't want to give up their malchus. That's why they got wiped out.
Right.
Right. So only the first two generations were tzaddikim.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, whatever it is, but these guys hung up the thumbs and then they hung them up in Shari Yerushalayim. V'amru, and they said, Pesha Yemadavar Begaiva, the mouth that spoke with Gaiva, V'yadayim Shoy Manifas Al Yerushalayim, the hands that are hanging Yerushalayim, Tasavem Nekama, we're taking Nekama against them. Right? So therefore, that happened on Yud Gimel Adar. That became a Yom Tov. Which shows that the Chacham were obviously agreeable to this.
The Taka said Tasa. They're talking to the Eibishter. You didn't come, not we didn't come.
Okay. But also saying, yeah, fine, I hear that. So, but why only his thumbs? Why only his thumbs and his toes, his big toe? Why not his whole hand?
Because they were waving their hands on it, so they did their hands. They did.
I know, but you got a whole hand.
Isn't that what they say? Like in biology, humans are the only things with thumbs, right? Like it takes away your like humanness almost.
Is that so? Oh, I hear.
I think so.
I think it's also the easiest bone to dislocate.
Right.
But Yaakov, they bring down from Marshall, they took his head off also, so I don't think the rest of his hand mattered at that point.
It took off his head because he was talking bad. It was his mouth.
Right. So I don't think I'm saying the toes and different. I'm just saying he was using the rest of his hands were useless.
He was waving. He was waving his hand, so they punished out the hand.
Okay, but all right. But you're saying they took off the head too?
Yeah, it's brought down from the Marshal.
So they could add it with the head from Yehudis. Right?
Yeah. There was a bunch of heads sticking on the walls at that point.
I guess so. Anyways,
Maybe
okay,
when,
bye.
when did the
They did
Almaris
it through a
bubble
mood
happen?
in those days.
Yeah.
When did
Oh,
Almaris
we got to
bubble
get to the
happen?
end of the Perek. I'm thirsty.
When did Al Nar's bubble
Yaakov, they had
happen?
a
I don't
different
know.
way. They had a different way of doing a mic drop. This was their mic drop.
Okay. Listen, it
No,
worked, right?
Maybe it's Lafuke the Levium, the Kohanim Levium that tore their thumbs off for the right reasons. So they did the thumbs also.
I hear you're really rolling tonight, Gershon, with all the two shells. I hear. Very good.
Yaakov, it says it very clear over here in the footnotes. It says they cut off the nikkur's thumbs because he waved against Yerushalayim, and his big toes because he threatened to trample Yerushalayim.
Yeah, but I understand. But why only the big toe, though? That's on. I don't understand why not the whole foot.
Because you can't walk without a big toe.
Okay, you can't walk without. Oh, you're saying the other toes you can't. I don't know. Okay, I hear maybe.
If
I
they
didn't know
took
I'm
off
learning
his head,
biology.
he
I just
can't
came up with
walk
this. I don't know if
anyway.
it's true.
I didn't know I'm learning biology
took off
tonight
his
of
head, he
animals
can't
and
walk.
humans. You can't walk.
They
I
took
hear.
off his head. He can't
You
walk.
can, but you lose half your balance.
Parrots, what are
Right.
you letting these guys do this? I don't believe it.
I went
All
up
right.
to the bar. No, I already started. I don't care. Don't
Okay,
finish
right.
the Perek
All
tonight.
right,
That's
I
all
fine
stopped
by me.
talking, so he stopped
Chaim,
yelling.
everybody. L'chaim.
Okay.
Maybe
L'chaim,
this,
thanks.
maybe that. Maybe I'm still thirsty.
Okay.
Parrots, you never drank before you finished the Perek.
Ain't suffer Yotzimene Vada. Yeah.
You know, it's because we're
The
learning the
reason
day
the
before.
makilim.
No, we're
Paris,
learning that the day before
it's a
is
Milsa
us.
de
So
la
Paris did a
Shlishi.
few lines. It's Milsa de la Shlishi. I don't know. Okay, anyway, so my Tuyraynus. What was the story with Tuyraynus? So this is already much more halacha l'maisa, not as happy, but there also kirsayis issues here. Amru kishabikish Tuyraynus laragas as lulunius upufis achim beludkia. Tuyraynus wanted to kill Lulanius and Pavius, who they were brothers in Ludkia. Right? Amr Lahem. Now, so the Rashi says that what happened was, so some say it's the Haruge Lud, and some say that what happened is that the daughter of the king was killed. And of course, they decided that it was the Yidden that killed the daughter of the king. So they said if they don't give up the murderers, so they're going to wipe out everybody. So these two fellows stepped forward to say that they're going to kill us and and Klal Yisrael will be saved. Right? Right? So that's a terrible story.
Right, but
Which
it's Yaakov. The reason why is because they falsely admitted to it.
Correct, right. So the question was what they did mutter.
Oh, that's it.
Right. So yeah. So okay, let's finish the story first. So he said to them, meaning this what's the name? Tuyraynus said to them, if you're from the nation then you'll get saved. The same way Hanani Mishav were saved from Nebuchadnezzar. Amrulai, these guys gave him a answer. If I tell you, these were tough fellows. Hanani Mishav tzaddikim gemurin hayu. They were real tzaddikim. And there was right for them to have a nace. And Nebuchadnezzar was the legitimate king. And a nace, he was right for a nace to happen through him. Right? Because he did daven to Hashem, Nebuchadnezzar. But I say Russia, but you, the Tuyraynus, had you to, he's really not a king. And he's not right to have a nace. We, for whatever reason, are chayiv. We have a chait, and we're chayiv misas bezdin. That's what Rashi says. And if you're not going to kill us, there's many people that can kill. And there's many they call it bears and lions that in this world that will kill us. So makes no difference if you're going to kill. If we're going to get killed, we're going to get killed. And nothing to do with you. But Hashem didn't put us in your hand. Because he's going to get revenge on you from if you're going to kill us, he's going to get revenge on you. So even so, Hargon, he killed them, and Hargon Miyad, he killed them immediately. And and before, right, they didn't even move from the killing, and a couple of officers came from Rome, and they split open his head they beat him up and they killed him, right, with wood things, right?
Yaakov,
Yeah, go ahead.
There was mice in urban Europe where certain people gave themselves up to save their town. They were moided. They said they did X, Y, and Z, whatever your Machlokes were trying to find out, and they gave themselves up.
Right. So yeah, it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable thing. It's unbelievable. But the first question is, so what was the holiday? What's the holiday here? So these two fellows gave up their lives. So the Yom Tov is because Lamaisa, they saved, even though they were killed, they were, but they what do you call it? They saved the whole. They saved all the
because they did that, they saved the rest of the rest of the
right. Whoever was around then. So that's why they made it into a Yom Tov.
Yeah,
right?
But later on it got taken away.
Correct, because of what the Shmaya and Chiyuv right. But there are girsayos that say that they take out that they were hargun, and there are girsayos that he didn't kill him. They didn't get killed. There are those gemaras that have that girsa. So that could be whatever it is, fine. Ain't goes in Tuyraynus al tzira v'tchila b'chamishi. Ain't goes in Tuyraynus b'Rosh Chodesh, right? We said that you're not allowed. They didn't make any tanesim on the Rosh Chodesh or Chanukah Purim. Well, not Chanukah. Not Chanukah Purim. They didn't make. Yeah, I'm sorry. The tanesim of for the droughts, they never established it if it would happen on Chanukah Purim. So, but they said, once they had a few fasts before, then they would. Okay. So v'kama have haskala. How many fasts have to be a haskala where they would let you fast even on Purim and on Chanukah and Rosh Chodesh? Rav Acha Amar Shalosh had to be 3 fasts. Rav Asi Amar Achas, and Rav Asi says 1 fast. Okay. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Zudiv Rav Meir Sha'amar b'Shum Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. That's Rav Meir b'Shem Shimon ben Gamliel. Chachamim Amar Misane u'Mashlim. You fast and you complete the fast, even on these days, right? So, which is interesting because some say it only means Tuyraynus actually says, right, that on Rosh Chodesh koi di Chanukah Purim eina yochel esanis di yom Mishna v'simcha ksiv, right? That's the last Tuyraynus in this Perek, right? That Chanukah nobody would allow you to fast, even if they started the series of fasts before Rosh Chodesh, then they would allow you. But not Chanukah and Purim. Chanukah and Purim, you're not allowed to fast.
So we're supposed to be drinking?
It says Yom Mishna v'simcha. That's what it says, right? So anyway, so Darash Marzut Mishmei Ravuna halacha mesane umashlim. The halacha is you fast and you complete the fast. But again, not like Tuyraynus says, he means for Rosh Chodesh, not for Chanukah and Purim. Hadran Allah said the tiniest Ketzad L'chaim, and we should only hear Taka B'suras Tovus.
Amen.
Amen. Beautiful.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Fine. Okay.
Jerry, we got 10 days left to Tuyraynus, right?
Let me tell you is that then these next few blot coming up are big blot. A lot of agadata. But yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna sign off to go pick up my wife.
So yeah.
Ask
you a quick shayla.
Yeah.
Refuah b'Shabbos. Is someone allowed to dab on to cracked skin a lotion?
The common question. So the lotion, you have to first make sure that it's thin enough.
Right, that's the problem. If it's thick, you can't. But it's a dab. Even to dab.
What would that mean? You actually like a chapstick?
No, like a lotion, a hand lotion. Take a little bit and dab it on the cracked skin. Not schmear.
But the problem is, what about the Issa Refuah? What do you say?
Hit the record. Barry's hit the record button.
I'm saying the shaila it's a Issa Refuah.